real quick because I know um, that Dr. Reverend Willie Wilson, the former mayor candidate, is not serving as a liaison to the business community for this march that's happening today, or if it already happened, against against the Trump administration eliminating the DEI program. Because, to be honest, and when we got to keep it 100, you understand? What has DEI done for the South Side and the West Side? What has DEI done for the Black American communities all over the United States of America? The reason why this is happening is because the churches are losing money. They're losing a lot of money because the grift is not grifting anymore. Okay, people are waking up. Younger kids are starting to talk to their grandparents and actually telling their grandparents that at the end of the day, the churches ain't doing nothing for the communities, and they haven't been doing nothing for the communities. And what irritates me about Dr. Reverend Willie Wilson is July 13th, 2023, you wrote something in the Chicago Tribune, and it was good. And this was when I first started. I started protesting outside of City Hall the summer of 2023. So the fact that that happened and stuff like that, I remember reading that article, and I want to read it again because maybe you forgot that you wrote that, or the person who wrote it for you needs to remind you of what you said, because right now you're looking real hypocritical. Willie Wilson: Black elected leaders must accept responsibility for what is happening in our community. By Willie Wilson, Chicago Tribune, July 13th, 2023. Black America in Chicago and throughout the United States is in crisis, and it is foolhardy to think that anyone will step in and save us. The solutions to our liberation must come from within. We must accept responsibility for what is happening in the Black community. For the last 60 years, the majority of Black Americans have been stuck in place. The unprecedented number of Black elected officials in Illinois and nationwide should lead to qualitative improvements for the Black community. With significant political power, why are Black people at the top of the list for negative socioeconomic indicators? Why are Black children in Chicago public schools failing further behind? Why is Black on Black crime out of control in Chicago and other major cities? In fact, more than 80% of the victims of gun violence in Chicago are Black. Why is the gap in social disparities widening? The question must be raised: are Black political, civil rights, and church leaders being used to oppress Black people? I know that discrimination and systematic racism still exists. However, we must hold our Black elected officials accountable for their actions and inactions towards improving conditions in Black neighborhoods. Exactly, Dr. Reverend Willie Wilson. It is the oppression by Black elected leaders of Black people that troubles me. If that troubles you, then why are you outside leading with this dumb DEI march that's downtown, probably? In 1994, more than 2/3 of the Congressional Black Caucus helped pass the Oppressive Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994, also known as the Crime Bill. The bill led to devastating consequences for Black Americans. Civil rights lawyer Michelle Alexander chronicles the impact of the crime bill in her book, The New Jim Crow. America has the highest prison population in the world, with more than 2 million people incarcerated. The crime bill provided $12.5 billion for prison construction in states that require inmates to serve at least 85% of their sentence were rewarded. In Cook County, Black people account for 23% of the population, but 73% of the jail population. People and corporations have profited from the dysfunctionality of the Black community. The private prison industry has an annual revenue of $7.4 billion. The overall spending on corrections in the United States is more than $80 billion. It is oppression when black elected officials support an unfair property tax system that causes more black people to lose their homes to the tax sale. Home ownership helps build wealth in neighborhoods in Cook County, which includes Chicago. The majority of tax evictions occur in black neighborhoods, according to a 2021 report by Housing Action Illinois. Losing one's home because of unpaid taxes hurt families and the community. It is the oppression of the black church that has abandoned a liberation theology and adopted a go-along to get along message so as to not offend anyone. And that's what you're doing, Dr. Reverend Wilson. You're going along to get along while you're standing out there right now, being the liaison for this corrupt congregation of corrupt church pastors today. The church is the single most important institution in black life, and it must be at the forefront of leading change for salvation, liberation, equity, and reestablishment of the family unit. It is the oppression of black rap artists denigrating black women with their negative lyrics, which also glorify violence and drug use that hurts our community. Their gift must uplift rather than tear down. It is the oppression of black drug dealers preying on the vulnerable and weak, all while bowing to the altar of the almighty dollar. And bowing to the altar of the almighty dollar is also these crooked clergy that's out there right now. Reverend Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Jamal Bryant, Willie Wilson. Their drugs leave a trail of untold carnage and destruction. It is the oppression of black Americans having substandard infrastructure and access to clean drinking water. This occurs too often in communities led by black mayors. It is the oppression of black mothers and fathers who abandon their kids and allow them to become part of a problematic foster care system. In Cook County, black youths account for more than 70% of minors in the foster care system. It is the oppression of black civil rights organizations that allow injustices to continue without collectively demanding equity. They are more focused on labor union and corporate contributions to their annual fundraisers and sacrifice their mission to the community. The following are recommendations to consider that will improve the quality of life for black people. These are your recommendations, Willie Wilson. These are your recommendations. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton and Illinois House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch should convene all black elected officials with the purpose of creating a plan to deal with racial disparities, violence, unemployment, poverty, and other key issues. Church leaders, all right. Now, let me go back to where I was because it wasn't planned. It was just like, ain't no way in the world y'all out there protesting for D.E.I. All right. It is the, so again, we're going to go back to his following recommendations because these is Dr. Reverend Mayor Wilson's recommendations for the quality life for black people. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton and Illinois House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch should convene all elected officials with the purpose of creating a plan to deal with racial disparities, violence, unemployment, poverty, and other key issues. Church leaders, fraternities, and sororities should convene a meeting focused on developing a plan to restore the black family, teach respect for life, and promote the importance of love, healthy eating, mental health, and financial literacy. Community leaders should consider funding a black think tank in Chicago to address issues like racial disparities and inequities. The community must hold leaders, civil rights organizations, and each other accountable for ensuring progress toward equity. We must register and vote. Black voters have been conditioned to accept the absolute least from black elected officials. Also, black elected officials have been adroit at using Republicans as the boogeyman standing in way of progress. Well, in Illinois, they cannot blame Republicans because Democrats have a super majority. We have a black lieutenant governor, Speaker of the House, Majority Leader in the Illinois Senate, State Attorney General, 3 black justices on the Illinois Supreme Court, Cook County Board President, Chief Judge. We used to have the state's attorney, Kim Fox, she's no longer there anymore, black, and clerk, Mayor of Chicago, and 4 U.S. representatives. I write this opinion to make uncomfortable those black people who are comfortable with oppressing other black people. A thriving and safe black community benefits America. It takes all of us working together to solve the current condition in our community. Willie Wilson is a business owner, philanthropist, and former mayor candidate. How do you say all of this stuff, Willie Wilson? How do you say this? Because it's given that you hypocritical. You gotta be a hypocrite because you cannot, or you didn't write this. This was not your words. Somebody else wrote this for you. Because there's no way that you can say all of this, because everything that you said about Chicago, Illinois, the black leadership, the civil rights leaders, the church, all of that you said is exactly right. You said everything that you said was right. So how are you out there, literally out there today, marching against Trump eliminating DEI when DEI never did nothing for our communities? Look at the South Side and the West Side. Your gas cards is not even doing much. You know what I'm saying? You think you're doing a lot for the community. You people can't even get a hold of you. The situation when you bring about the housing part and how they're stealing property and how they're taking property, you know, with the taxes and stuff, they're also doing that with eminent domain. They're also doing it with these developers going in and taking our properties and stealing our properties for the TIF money, for the opportunity zones. You know, we can't get to you. I've tried to get to you, Dr. Reverend Willie Wilson. Our organization would love to sit down and talk with you, Chicago Flips Red, because you can't sit here and write this in July of 2023 and then March 13, 2025, you're out there protesting against DEI and against Trump. You were once a Republican, you know, and then they made you feel so bad about being a Republican, then you went Democrat. Then you went Democrat to, I don't know what you are now, but I know that you are doing exactly what Reverend Al Sharpton has done, Jamal Bryant is currently doing, Jesse Jackson is doing. I guarantee you they got Jesse Jackson out there, Willed out there and all that. He barely can talk. They got all these black corrupt politicians and corrupt black civil rights leaders and all of that situation down there, and this is what we're dealing with. So you're a hypocrite, Dr. Wilson. You really are. And the people around you, they also are hypocrites, but none of them don't even know what to talk about. You understand? And that's the a problem. And I say a lot of things too. Anybody that gets on YouTube and trolls all day don't love themselves, because there's no way in the world that all you do is just troll all day. Whoever Justice Cropper is, whatever his thing is, like I said, I gotta put him in timeout or whatever. But anybody that just gets online and just trolls all day, you got a mental illness. That's just what it is. And I hope that you figure that out and you go get you some mental health help. Okay, at the end of the day. But as far as everybody else, Dr. Wilson, you should not be out there. How dare you be out there? How dare you be a self-made billionaire And I praise you for that. I praise you for your business mind. But your political mind and right now, when it comes to your clergy mind, it's starting to look kind of weird. It's starting to look like you borderline selling out too. And I really don't want to think that you're selling out, but it's given that you're selling out too, Willie Wilson, and I really don't want you to be selling out. So I really advise you to step away from whatever you're doing and really look at all sides of this. The issue is, and the real problem is, that this is the first time in history that black people in the city of Chicago is leaving the Democratic machine, right? And they're going to vote against the Democratic machine. And that is something that cannot happen here, or they don't want to happen here, because they've made money. These black nonprofits, these black leaders, these black politicians, the cliques that's with the politics have always made money off of black oppression. And now it's the first time that it's going to end. It's going to end, and they're scared of that. So that's why it's all of this weird stuff happening. They're taking the bread and butter. The bread and butter was the black oppression. They was making so much money off of that. They don't want to fix anything. They don't want to fix the infrastructure. They don't want to stop them from taking our properties and land. They want to keep the racist chaos that the Daily Senior and Daily Junior have put together. They want to keep all of this. If they don't have anything to complain about and talk about, then they can't receive any money. So that is the problem, and that's what they've been doing for a very, very, very long time. That's why it's just crazy. So Chicago Fits Red is a threat to Chicago. Chicago Fits Red is going to always be this issue. It's going to always be this problem. So because this is the first time ever that it's a threat to the Democratic Party, that black conservatives are willing to change this Democratic demon spirit that Chicago is underneath when it comes to the Democratic Party. They're pulling out everything that they're trying to pull out. So that's just how it is. So I'm gonna leave you with that. I'm glad that I was able to get back on here and stuff like that and continue what I was going to say. But yeah, so like and subscribe. Willie Wilson, you wrong for what you're doing, and I hope that this gets to you, and I'm gonna call you out every time, because ain't no way in the world. Stay in your lane. They didn't even want you in these people weren't even riding with you to become the mayor. How many times have you ran for mayor? They don't want you in office. Okay, they want you to continue to give out the gas cards and the turkeys over here at the gas station that you always go to. Stick to that. Stick to what you know, and teach some business classes. Teach people how these black entrepreneurs and these black kids can get their own McDonald's. Leave that church, leave them crooked clergy alone. You need to go talk to Corey Brooks. Go talk to Pastor Corey Brooks. But you'd have the nerve to be out there marching with them no good clergy who don't do nothing for the black community. That's why the black community is looking like this. They lost a quarter of all of their followers when the Democratic Party decided to do the pandemic when it came to COVID. And so a lot of seniors and stuff did not go back to church because they scared them. So now they ain't getting the tithe money. They ain't getting the money to keep up their lavish lifestyle. So now they done went to COVID, and from COVID they done went to the illegal immigration money. They taking care of everybody but us. They're using our plight, though. They're using our plight, but they're taking care of everybody but us. Stay woke.